Welcome to the Daily Energize Podcast, where you'll get a jolt of energy and a quick tip to help you conquer your day. Now here's your host, the Prince of Positivity himself, Spencer Jones.
Do you ever feel like you're pulled in 1,000 directions? Or, okay, maybe not 1,000 directions, maybe at times, but maybe 3 or 4, and it's hard to breathe at points. It's overwhelming with all of the different stuff that you need to do. Okay, I need to focus on being here and doing this for this work project. Then I got this work project happening. Then I got to be there for my family, and I said I'd volunteer over here, and this, that, the other thing. As energizers, we love to help others. We love to shine our lights. And for not all of us, but a lot of us, we like to help people. We like to people please and say yes to some things that aren't always in our best interest, or we're not the best suited for at this time. Maybe we're too busy already. We have so many things on our plate, or it's not in our wheelhouse, but we're just trying to help and support, or whatever it is. We get pulled in so many different directions. It's overwhelming. It could be frustrating. It could be irritating. I get it, and I understand it because, well, I'm that person. I get pulled in so many different directions, and I love saying yes and helping others, but I've had to learn some really crucial things in my life and to work at it. I'm still working at it. I'm not perfect. I'm still working at it and learning and growing. And one of the biggest things is to learn to say no. Learn to say no to things that do not align. Right? So that's why you hear me talk about alignment a lot and knowing what your priorities are. Even if you don't know your purpose, know what your priorities are and have an idea of where you're going. Even if it's not crystal clear yet, start figuring out generally where you want to go and then start going in that direction. It will get clearer. But I need to be intentional about what I say yes to. And so I invite you to be intentional about what you say yes to. Is it in alignment or is it not? And then also ask yourself, do you have time for it? If you have time, great. And it's an alignment, awesome. If it's no to not having time, then you say no. I think I've talked about this recently in one of the other episodes, if I remember correctly. And I know I've talked about it before, so keeping that idea going. But what about when you are pulled in multiple directions and it's all aligned? All of those things are aligned with you and where you're going and your priorities, but it's just part of life. Being pulled in all these different directions, what can you do? I also get that because I'm working at that as well. And what I found that works for me, and I believe it will work for you, is to schedule your time, to schedule your focus time. So, for example, doing these podcasts, right? I batch record these. I record these on Wednesday morning. And that's usually the time it's a time I set aside in my calendar to focus on this. I try not to get distracted by other things, albeit I did get distracted this morning. That sucked some of the time away, but I came back. That's good. And I was, in any case, I record Wednesday mornings for the podcast, right, for the Daily Energize. And other days I have other things that I do. But I try to focus on one at a time instead of being overwhelmed, saying, oh my gosh, I got all these different things. I go, okay, I have all these different things. What's one of the things? All right, let's put that in this time slot. I have one of these things. All right, let's put that here. Another thing, let's put that there. That way I can work on all these things, not necessarily at the same time. I work on them one at a time, but they're all starting to move forward because I give them the respective time that they need. Respective time that they need. Words are tricky, but I hopefully you know what I mean. Right? We give it the time that we need, the time to record this podcast, the time to work on my book, the time to brainstorm about the business and things that we need to do, whatever it is for you. Right? Time to be there for my family. It is flexible. We can change things, but I really try to focus on one thing at a time, knowing that, hey, I could be pulled in all these different directions. And if it's 1,000 things, well, most likely some of those things aren't alive. If it's 4 or 5 or less, then I bet you, I would assume all of those are aligned. Maybe they're not. Then check and adjust as needed. But if they are all aligned, then I really try to be intentional about just focusing on one at a time, scheduling that and then prioritizing that thing. That's where my focus goes. Then I take a break, and then I can focus on the other thing. Maybe it's one thing a day. Great. And then I have all my other different things that I need to do that are part of the day. But for those bigger things, maybe that's once a day, or maybe it's this task, and then this one, and then this one. And working it through. Now, I believe I've talked about scheduling before, doing all that, and I'm sure I'll talk about it again. But schedule your time. It makes such a big difference. Find the way that works for you. I've shared how I've done it. I currently do it by the hours, and that helps me out a ton. But I really try to focus. When it's time to focus on a thing, I try to focus on that and not be distracted. That's tricky, but it is possible. And you can do it, and it will help you. I'm confident of it because it has helped me, and I know it's helped some of our other energizers as I've worked with them. So that's all I got. That's all I got for today. All right, so take that with whatever you need to take it with, all right, or however you need to take it. But overwhelm is a real thing. Pick and choose the things that align, and then don't try to tackle all of them at the same time. Take it one at a time. All right, I love you. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day, an amazing week, and I will chat with you tomorrow. All right, until then, I'll catch you later.